Inside London, there is a hidden city, a secret square mile that holds more power than the British government itself. It has its own laws, its own police force, and even its own ruler, who the King of England must ask permission to visit. This is the City of London Corporation. Founded by the Romans 2,000 years ago, it outlived empires, plagues, and world wars. When kings needed money to conquer the world, they begged this square mile for loans. In return, they traded away their sovereign power. In 1666, the Great Fire of London wiped out the city, but the corporation used the chaos to buy up the remaining land for pennies. They rebuilt it as an invincible financial fortress, a place where money became God and secrecy became the ultimate qanun. To protect their vault, they created their own private police. They wear distinct gold badges, answering only to the corporation. They even put a permanent official inside the British Parliament, a shadow figure known as the Remembrancer. His job? To change any law before it is passed that could hurt the secret profits of the square mile. After World War II, the British Empire collapsed. Their colonies were gone, but the corporation had a backup plan. They created a global spider web, a network of offshore tax havens from the Cayman Islands to Jersey. All these islands feed directly back into London, creating the largest black money laundromat on the face of the earth. When the Soviet Union fell, Russian oligarchs rushed to London. They bought palaces and politicians, buying absolute immunity. The corporation's courts shielded their wealth, making it impossible for foreign countries to freeze their stolen billions. Prime ministers come and go, governments rise and fall, but the City of London Corporation remains untouched. In this hidden city, real people don't just vote. Giant global banks and corporations hold the majority of voting power. It is a democracy for the ultra-rich, where the size of your company determines the power of your political voice. In the late 1950s, they invented their greatest weapon, the Eurodollar market, a parallel universe of unregulated global finance. It allowed American dollars to be traded in London, completely invisible to the watchful eyes of the US government. They perfected the art of the shell company, layer upon layer of phantom entities masking the true owners of trillions. The corporation became the brain of a global octopus, its tentacles stretching into every tax haven on the planet. They used the respectability of the British Crown to shield transactions that would trigger global alarms anywhere else. This square mile birthed the shadow banking system. Trillions traded off the books, away from regulators, taxes, and oversight. From drug cartels to tech monopolies, everyone uses the loop, a legal black hole engineered to protect capital at all costs. When the global economy crashed in 2008, the world bled, but the corporation simply rewrote the rules to save itself.
Every attempt by modern politicians to investigate their vaults is quietly crushed by a wall of high-priced lawyers. As the world enters 2026, the corporation is evolving, shifting its secret trillions into the digital wilderness of AI algorithms. They no longer need physical vaults. Their power now lies in code, controlling global infrastructure from the dark. Nations declare bankruptcy. Empires dissolve into the dust of history. But the square mile outlives them all. You think you live in a world governed by politicians, but the real master of the globe hides inside the City of London. The corporation holds a power even the crown respects, a centuries-old pact that keeps their royal wealth completely untaxed. When the British Empire dissolved, they left behind tiny island territories, not for land, but to act as global financial vacuum cleaners. Take the Cayman Islands, a tiny British territory holding more registered corporations than actual human beings. Money travels from Wall Street to the Caymans, then loops straight back to London, instantly stripped of its origin paper trail. If a foreign government tries to sue, they hit a legal brick wall. The islands hide the names behind steel-clad secrecy laws. In the British Virgin Islands, a single post office box serves as the legal headquarters for thousands of global shell companies. This pipeline pumps over $1 trillion a year straight out of developing nations and into London's belly. Once the money lands in the square mile, it becomes clean, legally certified by the oldest financial institution on Earth. This laundered wealth buys up London's luxury real estate, leaving entire blocks of multi-million-dollar mansions completely empty. The real owners hide behind anonymous trusts in Jersey or Guernsey. Not even the British taxman knows who truly owns the city. It is a global protection racket. If you are rich enough, the corporation's laws will make you completely invisible to the world. Governments try to pass transparency laws, but the corporation's lobbyists inject hidden loopholes in the fine print. Now, in 2026, they are building a new fortress, decentralized, autonomous networks controlled entirely by private algorithms. Politicians act as the face of power, but they are just temporary actors on a stage owned entirely by the square mile. The British Empire never truly died. It simply traded its battleships for bank accounts. London did not work alone. It created a dark alliance with the secret mountain vaults of Switzerland. While Zurich hid the physical gold, London cleared the digital transactions, two empires ruling one global shadow web. In the 1960s, they launched the Eurobond, a loophole that allowed corporations to borrow billions completely tax-free. Wall Street watched in envy. To compete, American banks had to open massive branches directly inside the corporation's square mile. By doing this, American wealth instantly bypassed American laws, shielded by a medieval charter that no president could touch.
The loop expanded. London connected with U.S. states like Delaware, creating a seamless pipeline for anonymous capital. This pipeline drained a wealth of entire continents. Billions meant for schools and hospitals vanished into the London loop. To the public, London passed strict anti-money laundering laws, but behind closed doors, they left the back doors wide open. Their greatest legal weapon was the blind trust, a structure where you own everything, but legally prove you own nothing. If a foreign judge demanded answers, the corporation's private courts dismissed the case, protecting the secrets of their elite clients. As Asia rose, the corporation established a new gateway, routing wealth through Singapore to capture the trillion-dollar Eastern boom. Different currencies, different jurisdictions, different oceans, but they all settled in the same master accounts in London. Today, human traders are being replaced by high-frequency AI algorithms, buying and selling in millions of a second. The wealth has become a ghost, floating through decentralized servers, completely detached from any physical nation-state. Presidents step down, flags change, but the City of London Corporation continues its silent, unbroken reign. When the Panama Papers leaked, the world gasped at the offshore corruption, but London secretly smiled. Why? Because as secondary havens collapsed under pressure, the world's elite rushed their money back into the ultimate fortress. They monopolized euro clearing, a system where trillions of European trades must pass through London's private clearinghouses. No European government could audit them, protected by a legal shield forged during the Middle Ages. If anyone asks too many questions, the corporation threatens to crash the markets, a financial gun held directly to the world's head. They linked directly with Swiss gold refineries, allowing untraceable bullion to be converted into clean British pounds instantly. They perfected the non-dom tax status, a legal loophole allowing foreign billionaires to live in London completely tax-free. They buy up historical landmarks, turning public heritage into private high-security digital fortresses. Over 50% of luxury properties in the square mile are owned by companies registered in total secrecy. They dictate terms to developing nations, controlling their central banks through loans engineered to never be repaid. Their lobbying budget exceeds that of entire nations, buying influence in the corridors of every major global superpower. You think you vote for leaders who run the economy, but the leaders take their scripts directly from this square mile. Now, in 2026, the corporation is deploying deep-layer AI networks to front-run global trades before they even happen. The empire has migrated to the cloud, beyond borders, beyond regulations, completely invisible to the eyes of humanity. Empires don't die.
They just upgrade their systems, and London owns the master key to the global matrix.
If a sovereign nation tries to reclaim its assets, the corporation fights back inside private closed-door tribunals. They route transactions through the island of Jersey, a direct pipeline designed to mask billions in corporate dividends. Once inside this matrix, assets become legally untouchable, safe from courts, divorces, and national law enforcement. Giant sovereign wealth funds are forced to feed into London, giving the square mile leverage over the entire global infrastructure. This isn't just money, it is raw, unchecked political power, capable of destabilizing currencies overnight. They use Gibraltar as a secondary legal shield, controlling the entry point to the Mediterranean through shell companies and shipping flags. Every international banking regulator is packed with former corporation executives, ensuring the watchdog always protects the pack. They invented the concept of the ghost ledger, accounts that technically exist but leave no digital footprint for investigators. From oil to diamonds, global commodities are priced right here, controlling the survival of industrial economies. When international bodies enforce transparency, the corporation writes the exceptions, creating backdoors exclusively for the ultra-rich. Now, in 2026, they are building encrypted quantum ledgers, making their shadow network completely immune to cyber warfare. Whenever a country falls into crisis, the corporation's network triggers capital flight, sucking out billions to secure their own vaults. They still operate under the law merchant, a separate legal system from the Middle Ages that prioritizes debt over human rights. Politicians temporarily rule the headlines, but this square mile permanently rules the global baseline. Governments believe they run the world, but the true coordinates of power are locked inside the City of London. The corporation signed private treaties with central banks worldwide, granting their transactions absolute sovereign immunity from prosecution. They route multinational tech profits through Bermuda, a precision backdoor designed to wipe out billions in global tax liabilities. They established the ghost custody system, where trillions in assets change hands in milliseconds without ever triggering a regulatory alert. They turned derivatives into a weapon of mass economic control, forcing sovereign nations to hedge their survival on London's terms. This isn't just accounting, it is a parallel financial universe completely detached from public oversight or tracking. They maintain deep pipelines into Hong Kong's elite sectors, moving trillions out of mainland Asia and straight into the square mile's vaults. Every international clearinghouse is run by the corporation's circle, making it impossible for independent nations to audit the loop. They engineered the dark terminal, private communication networks where elite asset transfers leave zero digital footprint for courts.
They control the global foreign exchange grid, setting the values of national currencies and deciding who thrives and who goes broke. Whenever international coalitions demand strict disclosure, the corporation's lobbyists deploy hidden clauses that completely neutralize the threat. Now, in 2026, they are building dark liquidity pools on private fiber networks, protecting their shadow network from modern cyber warfare. If a regional government passes aggressive tax laws, the corporation triggers automated capital flight, draining liquidity until the state complies. They still lean on ancient maritime customs, a legacy legal code that values corporate cargo far above human sovereignty. Politicians control the theater of daily news, but this square mile permanently controls the baseline of global wealth. Nations fight wars over visible lines on maps, but the true coordinates of empire are locked inside the City of London Corporation. The corporation didn't just survive the death of the British Empire, it rebuilt it as an offshore shadow web that traps global wealth. While other tax havens face international pressure, the square mile stands tall, serving as the ultimate vault for the world's most dangerous money. They gained an absolute monopoly over clearing operations, forcing international markets to process their multi-billion-dollar trades through private channels. No foreign government can step inside their territory to audit them, protected by a legal shield that dates back to the dawn of banking. If any coalition tries to demand transparency, the corporation threatens to collapse the market, an economic gun aimed at every global leader. They control the gold route, converting untraceable bullion from conflict zones into perfectly clean, certified capital inside their private banks. They perfected legal loopholes that mask high-net-worth individuals, allowing the global elite to bypass domestic taxes completely. They buy up prime sectors of historical real estate, converting public inheritance into private high-security financial fortresses.
Over half of the elite assets held in the financial center are registered to phantom entities hidden in total secrecy. They dictate survival to developing economies, forcing entire nations into financial traps designed to capture their natural resources. Their lobby network outspends any sovereign state, securing absolute protection inside the halls of global superpowers. People believe their voted officials run the state, but the politicians read from scripts written inside this square mile. Now, in 2026, the corporation is deploying automated quantum arrays, controlling international trade metrics from the dark digital wilderness. The architecture of power has migrated to the cloud, operating far beyond public courts, completely insulated from regular human laws. Presidents vanish into history, borders alter over generations, but the City of London Corporation maintains its eternal, silent rule.
The corporation didn't stop at geography. They built a borderless siphon, engineered to pull the surplus capital out of every rising economy. They integrated places like the Isle of Man into their legal grid, a dedicated legal zone built to protect the massive assets of billionaires. They designed automated clearing pipelines that move money across continents in darkness, completely invisible to traditional national regulators. They transformed national bonds into leverage against public policies, forcing democratically elected leaders to yield to the square mile's demands. This is a parallel sovereign network, one that answers to no electorate and recognizes no authority higher than its own balance sheets. They laid deep financial infrastructure across oil-rich regions, channeling sovereign wealth directly into the city to neutralize geopolitical shocks. Every international clearing mechanism is managed by the corporation's inner circle, making any real public audit legally impossible to execute. They deployed ghost nodes, encrypted servers located in sovereign territories that erase financial data before courts can issue subpoenas. They dominate the global liquidity pools, controlling the flows of cash that keep everyday commercial banking networks alive or dead. Whenever international coalitions draft new disclosure treaties, the corporation's legal team adds a single footnote that renders the law useless. Now, in 2026, they are building dark fiber optical routes beneath the oceans to move sovereign capital out of the reach of international courts. If any country imposes wealth taxes, the automated grid quarantines their domestic market, draining liquidity until the state complies. They still invoke legal precedents from the Middle Ages, laws that dictate that corporate entities are completely separate from human borders. Politicians are just the shifting surface of the global sea, but this square mile is the heavy anchor hidden in the deep mud. Empires collapse into the ash heaps of history, but the secret geometry of the square mile remains unyielding and eternal. As global powers fight over resources, the corporation plays both sides, funding the infrastructure of rival superstates simultaneously. They tied their network directly to specialized alpine banking cells, creating a frictionless corridor for billions moving under absolute anonymity. They deployed an untraceable clearing layer that executes transactions off the public grids, leaving zero evidence for international criminal investigators. They hold the debt portfolios of developing worlds like a leash, forcing entire cabinets to write laws that directly benefit the square mile. This isn't a state within a state. It is an unauditable corporate entity that uses the illusion of democracy as its primary camo. They established massive capital collection pipelines into Asian trade networks, pulling trillions away from local development and into their own dark accounts.
Every financial security check is run by individuals loyal to the corporation, ensuring the back door stays completely open for the elite. They integrated specialized cryptographic servers inside offshore jurisdictions, allowing elite transfers to vaporize before any court can act. They adjust the dials of international exchange grids, determining which economies stand and which ones fall into engineered bankruptcy. When human rights watchdogs pass transparency codes, the corporation's lawyers sneak in single words that instantly neutralize the law. Now, in 2026, they are taking the entire financial apparatus off-grid, deploying quantum encryption that makes their secrets completely impenetrable. If any sovereign state dares to resist their terms, the algorithms automate a market crash, leaving nations starved for cash until they surrender. They still operate under modern feudal principles, a medieval logic where property rights are absolute and human rights are negotiable. The politicians you see on television are just the actors, but the stage they stand on was built and is owned by the square mile. The British Empire never vanished from the earth,
It just became invisible, and it rules you from the dark heart of London.
This was the complete and definitive history of London. If this moved you, subscribe to Majestic Chronicle, because history has never been told like this before.